And now, our first episode of LionHeart.
Well, thanks everybody for watching LionHeart. Today we're going to be organizing our little hardware parts bins because we're now in, let's see, day 13 of the COVID-19 shelter at home, and we're literally climbing the walls trying to find something to do. So we're going to organize parts bins today. Well, Cole, which bin should we pick first, do you think, to organize? Oh, and we do have a surprise bin here for later. We'll just cover that.
I think that we should indeed pick the first bin on the top. No, that looks it. The first bin up here. Look at all that good stuff.
Look at all this good stuff. So what is in this bin? First of all, we'll dump it out because we are going to find little outlier pieces that shouldn't be in the bin. But these look like leftover pieces from the walk-in closet installation. So we save these in case we have repairs to do. But luckily there are no other extraneous pieces in here. Oh, except this one looks to be a machine screw. That doesn't belong in there. And this is a machine screw. So two little machine screws found their way into this bin. There's 4 machine screws. The rest of these pieces, they go on those little laminated particle boards that shelves are made of. They're not very strong, but they're cheap to manufacture, so that's why we use them. Done with that. So now we should look for our machine screws. This is one that is basically a mess, but as you know, machine screws typically have a very fine thread. These are actually different threads, or maybe they're the same. A very fine thread. They don't have a point. They're designed to go into a threaded end, like either a nut or a threaded receptacle on a piece of metal that you've tapped. So here we've got a bunch of machine screws. Some of these don't belong in here because they go into other bins that we've sorted. But here you can see a piece of metal that has been threaded. And one of the adventures in machine screws is to find the screw that fits that.
It was this one, Dad.
You first try and you found one?
Yes.
That is amazing, Cole. Look at this. Cole, on his first try, found a machine screw that goes into this thread. That's not that common because, as you can see, machine screws have different widths, they have different threads, different coarseness. So right here you can see this little bag. Look at this awesome bag of unused, 2 of the machine screws have been used. That is an incredible find.
But 2 untouched and unused.
2 untouched, unused machine screws. These are number 8, 32 by, what does that say? 2 inches, my assistant is saying. Number 8 is the size of the screw, 32 is the thread, and 2 inches is the length of these screws. And these are zinc-coated screws.
Wonderful.
Put those in there. Look at this, another unopened bag. This is leftover from some installation of something that came with machine screws that we didn't need to use. But oh my God, look at this. There are, count them, 8 unused machine screws, and look at that. I'm not sure if you can see this, but they come with little lock washers on them. That's to keep them from turning once you put them in. These are so cool. We better put them back in the bag.
Yeah, we gotta be careful.
You know, somebody might want these back in their original condition, so we're going to put them in a plastic bag to save them. Look, here is a Phillips head with an acorn nut, a rusty acorn nut. You know what we're going to do with these rusty ones here? We're going to put them into our bin of rust remover.
Oh no. Yes, kind of.
And that will take the rust off them. You can see it's a little nasty in there
rust.
because we've been removing rust off of things for quite some time. Here's another little bag, unopened, of Phillips pan head machine screws. This doesn't belong in here, does it? This is a bolt with a nut and 2 shoulders. This is a bearing of some sort. Look at that. I think we'll put that aside. It might go in another bin. But the rest of these, there's a nut and bolt. We're using machine screws in here. What's that? That doesn't go in there. This is a nylon nut. Maybe you can find the machine screw that goes with that. Get out of here. First time? Ha!
So we're even.
That's just incredible. More machine screws. You know, we collect these things by taking things apart. Look at that. This is like a blind cap nut for a flush mount. Do you ever see one of those? It doesn't go all the way through. It's threaded on the inside. Here's a screw that goes in there.
Wow.
Pretty amazing. Okay. I remember taking this apart. This was an old 12-volt inverter charger that we had on the boat. Look at that. That is a brass machine screw. Quite long. Looks like 4-inch screw. Incredible. Here's one with a very small head. Look, here's a matched set of acorn nuts on the end of Phillips head machine screws.
Wow. All these finds.
All these fine things. Alright. We might need to speed this video up at the end for the sorting bit. There's a random nut. Guess where that needs to go?
Oh, I'll find some random nuts. This looks like it's made out of paper. Oh.
Really? That is a washer.
Okay, well.
And look at this. 2 washers. These don't go in with the machine screws. And here's just a lonely little lock washer. So that's one of the things we're going to do. We're going to take out the parts that don't belong in here because we have a separate bin for loose nuts. Oh, and we know what this is.
A hex head.
This is a hex head with a Phillips inset machine screw. This goes on computers. That's a very common bolt for computers. Oh, look at this.
Never used.
Never used in their original plastic. 2 screws. They're painted heads. Do you know what these are from?
Looks like they could be for my feet.
These look like they go on an outlet. Long screws. Okay. Well, here is an interesting categorization problem. Is this a bolt with a hex head, or is this a screw with a slot head? What to do?
What to do, indeed.
That is definitely a bolt with a hex head. We'll put it in that little pile of bolts.
This.
And check this out. Somebody is saving a bunch of washers, but since we have another drawer for washers, we're going to put those all over there.
What do we do with this, though?
We're going to have to put it over here for future categorization. We might have to call on our viewers to weigh in with whether this is a bolt or a screw, or whether it's in a special category of its own that we might call a screw bolt.
A screw bolt. I don't know.
Okay, we'll put those in there. This is a little electrical terminal. Look at that.
Cool.
Okay, so what we'll do is take out the rest of these little random pieces. This is one of those inset pieces for the assembly of cabinetry. We know where that goes. We could put it in here with these things.
Ah, that one.
Oh, here's another one. Look at that. Its brother got left behind. We'll put that back up there. Well, this is definitely for electrical. That is a screw bolt for the grounding terminal in electrical. Here's another random
if that's
bolt.
a screw bolt, then wouldn't that make this a screw bolt?
Yeah, look, here's another screw bolt. I think we should keep the screw bolts with the screws. What do you think? Not with the bolts.
Sure, but you said we should ask the viewers.
Oh, you're right. We will ask the viewers about that.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, it is. It is a tough one. We'll see if anyone comes back on that. Okay, here's one that's got its own plastic retaining washer. So this is good for when you have it in a switch panel. You know, the faceplate for a switch. You can put that on there and it will keep it from being released. Now look at this. Why is this little thing in here? This is the plunger from a servo. Crazy. Why is that there?
Because someone put it here.
Miscategorized.
Yeah, so what pile would we put it in?
What else we got in here? Oh, there's another screw bolt for grounding. There's another nut. Look at this. This is an Allen key head. Inset hex head. You use an Allen wrench for that. Or what's also called a hex wrench. It's got its own matched black washer, so I'm just going to try to keep that together. Do you think we have any nut that would fit that? Or we're going to keep the nuts separately. This part of the adventure is trying to find the nuts afterwards. Okay, so why don't we dump these back into this bin?
Yeah, they all look like screws.
Yeah, what, except for this one. Look at that, knurled. That's a special one. That's got a knurled head. Very cool.
You're right. It's got little lines like on the edge of a dime. You can't really see it through the camera, but let's see, what can I do? Yeah, where should we keep this then?
Let's set it aside. We might find a place for those. And I guess I wonder why we're putting those in there when these are not actually nuts or screws. They're more like blind nuts. Should they go in with the nuts?
I don't know.
Let's
Sure.
put them in there. Okay. We actually have a little bin full of these painted screws for electrical switches.
Okay, I'll grab that bag that we saw earlier with these two unused electrical painted
and
top
this one
screws.
that's got its own. Lost two there. They tried to get away. Come back here. There's a plastic one. Look at that, a plastic screw. Craziness.
Yeah, you're right.
This is not a machine screw, is it? We know where that goes. Do you remember those? That's not a machine screw either. And neither is that.
Alright, they all got like crazy points on the end.
Mm-hmm.
Can kind of see them.
What are they doing in there?
Someone needs glasses, apparently.
Well, you know, sometimes people are in a hurry and they just dump them into the nearest bin without being careful about whether they're categorizing them correctly. You know, we love to have our little pigeonholes for things. Okay, so that's good. Are we done with these machine screws? We may come back to that later if we find machine screws in other places. But look at this bin full of washers. That's just, look at that, a little bag full of stainless steel washers. Look at that. Okay, here's some friends that can go in with that bag. They can have a little stainless steel washer party together. You guys go in there, say hi to your friends. Yay!
What about this rusty one?
Wow, rusty one. That's not stainless steel if it's rusty, and it's a bit dished as well. So we'll just throw that in there. Look at that. There's already one of these in here, so we're going to throw these other two into that. Look at the size of that one. That is a huge washer.
This
really
is how
heavy.
It fits in the palm of
Man,
my
you
hand.
don't see those every time. This is like a lifetime one. I am so impressed that we pulled this washer
What about
today.
this one?
Look at that. Almost as big. It's got a slightly smaller hole, you can see. Plus, this has got a contour on it. I'm not sure what that was used for before. Would you like to see some other interesting washers? Here's another big flat one with a small hole. Looks like about a 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8. Look at that big brass bushing. Amazing. That's just amazing. Should we throw these? These look like Bakelite.
These look like leather.
Something like that.
Okay,
And here's a little bag full of lock washers. Look, it's been opened. Okay, well, it's not. This one's been opened as well. Flat washers. Stainless steel. Okay.
Better.
So stainless steel washers are really impressive because they don't rust as long as they're exposed to oxygen. Okay, so we've got our washers put away in there.
Thanks for watching this episode of LionHeart. We'll be back again.